Welcome back to the Confessions of a Good Girl, the podcast where good girls come to confess and sovereign women come to stay. Today, we are going to continue our conversation on overload, the second principle in my signature confess method. And before we dive in, I want to discuss what overload is. Overload builds directly on the awareness that we unlocked in the conditioning segment, so go check out the previous episodes for that. But it operates on this premise that your nervous system was never broken. It was actually really freaking good at protecting you. Before you had the language for what was happening around you, your body actually created adaptive responses that kept you alive, they kept you feeling loved and safe. The work here is about understanding the how behind the patterns, not the shame around them. If you want to follow along and do the work, you can grab the Confess Method, the complete self-coaching system, from the link in the show notes. Today, I want to go back to episode 5 for just a hot second. We talked about, in that episode, freeze, fight, and fawn. And I told you then that we were going to go into flight and it was going to get its own moment. And here's why. Flight is the stress response that gets a standing ovation when it comes to the good girl. It's the one that your boss rewards, the one your family brags about, the one your friends look at and say, I don't know how she does it all. That is exactly what makes it the most dangerous one when it comes to being a good girl, because your survival response looks like ambition, productivity, and having it all together. Nobody tells you to stop. Not your partner, not your therapist, not your body, not until your body can't hold it anymore and something breaks. So today we're going to talk about what flight actually is, how it's been hiding in plain sight in your life, and how it showed up in mine, and what it looks like when you stop the running. So let's start with what flight actually is. Flight is your nervous system's way of escaping what feels overwhelming. But here's the thing, it doesn't always look like running. Most of the time, it doesn't look like escape at all. It looks like staying incredibly, impressively, relentlessly busy. Flight can look like the to-do list that never ends because you keep adding to it before you can finish it. Cleaning the house at 10 p.m. because sitting still made your skin crawl. Signing up for another course, another certification, another program because maybe this one will be the thing that finally makes you feel ready. This could also look like volunteering for the committee, the carpool, the extra project at work, because you'd rather be exhausted than alone with your own thoughts. It could be talking your kid into every school sport or club so that your schedule stays packed. Over-exercising, over-scheduling, over-searching, over-planning a vacation that was supposed to be relaxing. The constant mental chatter, the lists in your head while someone is talking to you, the way you're already solving tomorrow's problems while today isn't even finished yet. And here's the sneaky part. None of this looks like a problem. It all looks like you're winning. For my clients, this often looks like the woman who is the first one up and the last one in bed. She wears that like a badge of honor. She runs the house, the calendar, the emotional temperature of every room she walks into, and if you ask her how she's doing, she says, busy but good. Always busy but good. Her inbox is at 0, her kids' lunches are prepped on Sunday, she's meal planning, budget tracking, researching summer camps in February, and underneath all of that efficiency is a woman who has not sat with her emotions in months, maybe even years. She doesn't rest because resting feels dangerous, not physically dangerous. It feels like if she stops, something will fall apart. Or worse, if she stops, she'll have to feel something. She's been out running. She is the most competent person in every room, and she is exhausted in a way that a vacation cannot fix. Because you can't vacation your way out of a nervous system that believes your worth is tied to your output. Okay, so here I need to talk about this one personally because flight was my biggest achievement. If there was one stress response I built my entire identity around, it was this one. You may have heard me tell the story of my mother telling me at 11 years old that she didn't want me because I wasn't a boy and I couldn't take care of myself. And my response to that was, okay, bet. And then I spent the next 27 plus years proving her wrong. That proving was the flight. I was the girl who worked 2 jobs in college. I was the woman who had the answer for everything, a plan for everything, a backup plan for the backup plan. I used to coach cheerleading, and they would actually joke and be like, okay, Coach Odd has a plan XYZ. I was always prepared. When I became a COO, I could see the system, find the gap, build the fix, and execute it faster than anyone else in the room. And people loved that about me. They praised it. They promoted me for it. They called me driven and ambitious and a rock star and even a genius. And the whole time, my body was just running, not towards something, but away from the little girl on the top shelf of her closet who believed she had to earn the right to be here. When we were traveling the world, I was the breadwinner. My husband traded, but that was for our future. I took care of our now expenses, and as I carried us through the Dominican, Peru, Venice, and everywhere in between, I told myself it was sovereignty. And in some ways it was. But in a lot of ways, it was flight dressed up as freedom. I was staying so busy building and earning and proving that I didn't have to sit with the wound underneath it all. The wound that said if I ever stopped being useful, I would be abandoned. And that shit fucking hurt. But here's what I want you to hear. My running looked beautiful. It looked like a woman living her fullest life. And I was doing real things. I wasn't faking the accomplishments, but the engine underneath those accomplishments, when I really looked at it in the face, was not joy or calling or purpose. The engine was, if I stop, they'll leave. And that engine will run you into the ground every single time. Now here's why I said flight is the most praised and the most disguised. Think about it. So we live in a culture that worships busy. Everyone is always rushing and speeding and moving along as fast as they possibly can. We live in a culture that puts girl boss and that girl and she does it all on a pedestal. We reward the woman who never stops. We call her inspiring. We call her goals. And no one stops to ask why she can't sit still. No one asks the woman who is always going, what she's actually running from. Because her running looks productive. Her running makes everyone else's life easier. Her running is convenient for the people around her. So flight never gets flagged the way fight does, the way freeze does. Nobody stages an intervention for a woman who's crushing it. They just keep handing her more to carry. And she keeps saying yes because saying yes is how her nervous system learned to stay safe. If I'm needed, I'm kept. If I'm useful, I'm loved. If I'm always one step ahead, no one can catch me off guard like they did when I was little. I want you to do something for me right now. Take a deep breath, and I want you to answer honestly these questions. Don't rush past them. Let them land and really hear and listen to your body. When was the last time you sat and did absolutely nothing and it felt okay? Not scrolling, resting with a podcast on, not laying on the couch but mentally reorganizing your week, actually nothing. When someone asks you, how are you? Do you answer with what you've been doing instead of how you've been feeling? Do you feel a low hum of anxiety when your schedule opens up, like an empty calendar feels wrong instead of restful? I know I've been guilty of this one before. Have you ever created a problem to solve because the absence of a problem felt worse than having one? If any of these made your chest tighten, if any of them made you feel like you wanted to argue with me, or this is an important one, explain why you're busy is different. That's information. That's your body telling you something. So how do you start working with flight? I'm not going to tell you to just slow down. That's what everyone says, and it doesn't work because slowing down is the thing your nervous system is terrified of. Telling a flight response to slow down is like telling a freeze response to just get up. It misses the whole freaking point. The first thing is just noticing. Start paying attention to when you reach for busy. Not to judge it, just to see it and take note. When you pick up the phone to add something to the list, pause and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? When you start cleaning at 9 p.m., notice what happened right before you stood up. When you sign up for the next course, the next certification, or the next thing, ask yourself, am I running towards this or away from something else. The work in the Confess method is about learning to read your body's regulated and dysregulated states. And for flight, the signal is often that restless energy, the I should be doing something right now feeling, that inability to just be. When I started doing this work, I had to learn that sitting still was not laziness, and it was not dangerous, that my worth was not measured in what I produced, and the people that love me are not going to leave if I stop being the most useful person in the room. Repeat after me. I am valuable for simply existing. I am valuable for simply existing. This is a nervous system rewire. This is slow work, and it is the most important work that I have ever done, that you will ever do. If you're listening and you recognize yourself in this, I want you to know that the Confess method supports you through this work. Being aware is only the beginning. Awareness is not the work. Knowing your default doesn't change it. Practicing a new response does. And the Confess method walks you through the full overload section, so you can not only identify your patterns, but actually begin the somatic work in your body to shift them. This is the work that took me 5 years to figure out, and I systemized it so that you don't have to. The link for the PDF is in the show notes. So let's pull today's card. Today's card is Gnosis. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. If not, go down to the show notes, and as always, the card details and the deck link will be there for you. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if you want to follow along as we dive deeper into the Confess method, again, that link is in the show notes. And I'm telling you, this is the best resource that I could possibly imagine for any level of healing. Everything is in one spot in a systemized, proven way that actually works and isn't just a bunch of information thrown at you. It walks you through step by step each of the letters of the Confess method and then applies it to your embodiment, your entrepreneurship, and your career. So go ahead and check it out in the show notes. And remember, we do not confess to be forgiven. We confess to be free. Till next time.